Hey guys, what's up? Emo Cat Dad here, hanging out with you, bringing you yet another edition of Emo Cat Dad Listens. If you're new here, first off, thanks so much for stopping by. What it is I do here on this show is every day of 2024, I vow to check out a new band or artist. I check out 4 songs from across their discography, give you my initial thoughts on those songs, give you my ranking of those songs, and then of course my overall thoughts on the artist based on what I just heard. You guys have been so kind, giving me tons of bands and artists that I absolutely need to check out, so please keep those coming, because today's artist is one of those suggestions. It's Kublai Khan TX. So going into this, I knew Kublai Khan TX was like a metalcore band. I've seen interviews and stills of the band. I've never heard a song, or at least to my knowledge. And I recall thinking they were more on the hardcore side of metalcore, so that's what I'm expecting going in. We'll see if I end up being surprised or not, though. I will say, bringing up their Spotify just now, I am a little surprised at how long they've been a band. Apparently they released their first EP back in 2010. So yeah, did not expect this to be a 14-year band, but here we are. Alright, so a quick look at their Spotify. It seems that first EP was self-released. The next 2 albums were released on Artery Records. There are some songs with streams, but it really seems like this band picks up once they signed to Rise Records. And their first album on Rise was Nomad, which features 2 songs from their top 5, so we're just going to check out their most streamed song, Antpile. Okay, so this was a minute song, and as you can see from the screenshot right there, the lyrics are super deep in this one. Let's just move on to the other song from this album in their top 5, The Hammer. Okay, now that we actually have some more lyrics, I can actually speak to the vocals more. They're actually really good. I have no complaints whatsoever. They are a more hardcore style vocal, and this is definitely a hardcore style song. So maybe I was wrong. Maybe they're not as metalcore as I thought. I will say I did expect a bit more based on like the fun little sounds we got in Antpile during its minute. But maybe they were just like, this is a minute song, we can play around with it since there's no real lyrics, and then we'll follow that up with a straight up hardcore song. Actually, I don't even know if these two follow each other in the album. Alright, so their next album on Rise came out in 2019. It was called Absolute, and I checked out Self-Destruct from that album. Okay, so maybe I was a little too quick. This song is a little bit more metal, though it still definitely stands out on its own as a hardcore track. My favorite part of this song, and really out of any Kublai Khan TX so far, is they have a call and return style vocal, but it's not your typical call and return where it's 2 vocalists going back and forth. It's the vocalist saying a line, and then there being a sample spoken word section of a line, and then the vocalist does the line, spoken word back and forth. Oh my god, works so well. I've said many times before, spoken words are very hit and miss for me. This was a hit and a half. What wasn't my favorite was the song ending on like a 30-second breakdown, and the breakdown was just kind of okay. Like I would have expected better into another spoken word line, so it was fine, I guess. Just especially after that call and return style vocal, I would just rather heard that go on for the last 30 seconds and skip the mid breakdown. So when I really heard tons of buzz about Kublai Khan TX was in 2022 when they were prepping for the release of their new EP on Rise Record, Lowest Form of Animal. So I knew I had to check out one from that. So I checked out Taipan. Alright, so this is a minute slow build hardcore track that I was just like, okay, this must be like the intro to the album. It even says Lowest Form of Animal in the lyrics, so that makes sense for me because it brings you into the album. And then I looked at the EP track listing, and this is track 3. So I guess this acts as like an interlude maybe for the EP. You guys let me know. Most recently, Kublai Khan Texas has released a handful of singles, which presumably will be off a new full length, maybe an EP. I haven't seen any announcement, but I'm sure there has been. So just a couple weeks ago, they released a new song called Low Tech, so I definitely want to give that a listen. Okay, so this is more beatdown hardcore. The vocals and instrumentation is honestly perfect for this genre, so kudos to them. But apart from like some real killer drum fills, I just expect more from a band with this much buzz. Like, I figured they were doing something crazy like Knock Loose has been doing, but Kublai Khan Texas is just kind of staying in their lane, and they do a great job of it, don't get me wrong. I just wish we got some more, especially since I started off with Ampile and it had like some like synths in it. Alright, so those were the 5 tracks I checked out since Antpile. Let's go ahead and rank them. Starting at number 1, we're putting Self-Destruct. This by far had my favorite moment in any Kublai Khan Texas track, which was that call and return style vocal with spoken word. Even if that wasn't in there, I think the song still would have had a case for number 1, because musically and vocally, it was probably among my best performances. But that section really put it over the top. At 2, we're doing Low Tech. I know I didn't say too much about this song. I just kind of wished out loud that they were doing something more. And I do still think that. I think it was just a case that this was the last track I listened to. Had it have been the first, I would have echoed a lot of things that I would have said throughout, because I do think Kublai Khan has perfected what they do, and it shows on this track. At 3, we're going with The Hammer. Definitely my least favorite of the 2 minutes or more tracks, but I think Kublai Khan was still trying to perfect their sound at this time, and honestly I still really did enjoy this track. If I ever see Kublai Khan live, or if it pops up on a Spotify playlist and The Hammer starts going on, I'm gonna have a good time still. Same with number 4, Taipan. I just couldn't in good conscience put a minute track above some of these other tracks, since it did pretty much the same stylistically things. We just got more of it, and, you know, I'm a fat kid, so more is better. And finally at 5, Antpile. Poop. Son of a female dog. Alright guys, so what are my overall thoughts on Kublai Khan Texas? I think I've made them pretty clear throughout. Kublai Khan Texas does the metallic hardcore, beatdown hardcore, whatever you want to call it, extremely well. And in fact, I would say they do it better than Knock Loose does, with the caveat of it seems like Kublai Khan Texas is happy to stay in this lane, whereas I think in the coming, you know, months, years, I think Knock Loose is going to do something outside of the norm, and it's going to be my favorite thing over anything Kublai Khan Texas has done. But until then, when I'm feeling metallic hardcore-y, I'm going to go jump on Kublai Khan Texas and hardcore dance in my living room. Alright guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I am your friendly neighborhood Emo Cat Dad. I appreciate you oh so much making it to the very end of this video. I know it's not easy to look at my face that long, but I appreciate you powering through it. Please, like I said at the beginning, leave me some suggestions in the comments below. Give me bands or artists you think I absolutely need to check out, whether they're metallic hardcore, beatdown hardcore, crust hardcore, hardcore core, or, you know, something that doesn't have the hardcore setting. Maybe you want to give me a pop artist or a hip-hop lyricist. Like, go nuts. And hey, let's have a conversation. Give me your thoughts on Kublai Khan Texas in the comments. Did I just pick some bad songs? Do they actually experiment with new sounds across all their albums, and I just ignored the artery releases, or picked, you know, the most hardcore songs on each of these albums? Let me know if you've checked them all out, because I have not. And hey, give me some other song suggestions when I want a hardcore dance in my living room to check out from Kublai Khan Texas. I would appreciate it oh so very much. But most importantly, I want you to stick around for the ride, and honestly, the best way to do that is if you simply cut my wrist and hit subscribe. Emo Cat Dad signing off for now, but until tomorrow, I want to hear you sad.